The first thing I noticed with the install was the top row was completely installed differently than the bottom row. The next thing I did see was there was a lot of over direction in the first bead that was pulling back and causing a sore. And also she unfortunately did have a little bit of hair loss. Her hair looked beautiful. The end result, people were like, man, her hair looks so good. It was pretty. She was being dramatic. You can't say that to a client who's actually wearing them, because what the hair looks like on the outside doesn't always, match the inside.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize losing my hair was part of that $4,000 service. Hey guys, it's Briar, and let's chat about it. Just when we thought that the 4K Hairtok drama was dying, down, it has come back up on my For You page and everyone else's For You page, because the creator, Not Famous, who shared her experience and story about going to Hair by Chrissy and spending 4,000 US dollars on her hair, had to get her hair redone. And so she went to another Hairtok stylist and they documented the whole journey. And well, you see, through that journey, we saw just how much that hair was not worth 4K at all. So, as we sometimes need to do on this hair channel, we are doing a part 2. So if you guys want to hear all the updates that have happened since my last video about the 4K Hairtok drama, stick around and let's get into it. So I thought I would start with updates from the Hair by Chrissy side, mainly because there's not much to update you guys on. Shockingly, Hair by Chrissy has been more or less staying in her lane. Her reposts are mostly just people going and getting their hair done at the salon, and I saw maybe one other kind of shady podcasty repost, but aside from that, she has kept her thoughts to herself. She hasn't continued on to be messy, at least from what I can see. Do I think that's because she's realized that what she maybe did wasn't right? She didn't handle the situation in the best way? Probably not. I think most likely the motivations are due to wanting to be able to turn her comment section back on, and also the fact that all of the influencers that she so loves to do their hair are getting a lot of heat in their own comments when they post about going to Hair by Chrissy. So I think for business and for maintaining the relationships with her precious influencers, she's had to bite her tongue, keep it quiet, change her profile picture, and just keep those thoughts and snarky knee-jerk reactions to herself. So that's kind of the updates that I have for Hair by Chrissy, and obviously that is just my interpretation of the behavior. So now let's move into Not Famous and her journey to get her hair redone, because even though I have seen quite a few people saying that Not Famous is milking this drama and milking it for every TikTok cent that it is worth, I mean, she is doing something that is nothing new. It's a film we've seen before. A lot of people that have hair disasters, whether it be at their own hands or another hairstylist, often go to a different Hairtok stylist, and that stylist is their hero. I'm really sorry. I don't know what is wrong with me and my brain and my brain's insistence on making hair puns. I'll try stop. I'll try tone it down. I can't help myself. I didn't even mean to do that one. This is nothing new. This is something we've seen time and time again on TikTok, where someone has a hair fail, a hair disaster, and another Hairtok stylist will put their hand up and volunteer as tribute and say, I will fix your hair. When you think about it, there is a lot of reasons and motivators for a Hairtok stylist to do this, right? Obviously, it's good publicity. They get to treat this person like an influencer. They usually fly them out to see them and kind of treat them, give them the influencer special. And, it makes them look like they're doing a really nice thing because they're doing their hair for free, which in reality is the price of content and publicity. And the Hairtok stylist can be pretty confident that they will get good views making this series or this content because it's topical. Usually that person has already gone viral for their hair, and so they can be pretty confident in giving the service for free because there is a high chance that the content that they will post about it will also go viral, which is exactly what happened in this case. Also, it really demonstrates how well that they can do hair because you have the direct comparison of the fail compared to the other stylist, and then seeing the after, seeing their work work on the hair, it's obviously very good publicity for them. It's obviously, there's a lot of motivators, and it's not to say that that's bad, but you can definitely see why this is something that we see happen and why Hairtok stylists are particularly motivated to do these types of hair transformations. And so that is exactly what happened here with Not Famous and Texas-based hairstylist Rachel Bynum, who flew Not Famous out to Texas, gave her the influencer treatment, and redid her hair and took Not Famous and everyone on TikTok along for the journey. So I feel like we should just simply start there and get into this journey that we got taken on to fix Not Famous's hair, because even though Not Famous, kind of ended her experience stories by saying she liked her hair, unfortunately the reality is that her hair did need to be fixed and it did need to be redone. So let's watch Rachel's first few videos about her flying Not Famous out to Texas.
The day has finally come. I'm going to pick up Not Famous from the airport tonight, and tomorrow's the day that we do her hair. So we are going to be creating all the content she wants to. She's excited. I'm excited. We're going to be doing TikToks before and after, a lot of educational things. I really want to educate on the methods that are different than mine and really show the difference in the parallel between the two. So if y'all been waiting, it's finally here. Tomorrow, the 30th, which is November 30th, we will be doing Not Famous's hair.
And the comments are definitely very interesting. A lot of people saying this is a good business move on your part, great marketing strategy, but a lot of people also just excited to see the results. So this is the next video of her picking her up from the airport. We
are currently at the airport picking up Not Famous. I'm gonna record her reaction, get her to the hotel, maybe get them some food, but we got the hotel all decorated for them. We're giving her the influencer treatment, guys. Full package, the bold way, influencer treatment. We want to make her feel like a queen. So we're waiting for her right now. Hey! Oh my gosh, y'all look so cute. Let me see the outfit. It's nice to meet you. Nice to meet I'm Rachel. Hi, nice to meet you. Are you a hugger? I'm a hugger. Is that okay? Okay. This is my husband.
Hyland, nice to meet you.
I'm so excited. Yeah, welcome. Yeah, let's get y'all's bags and everything put in. Yeah, y'all can hop in. Y'all are good. Are y'all hungry?
A little bit.
Okay, let's go get y'all some food.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We got you a hat back there too, so.
Awesome.
I'll move my chair up. Get you comfortable.
Welcome to
No, you're fine.
Welcome to Texas. Their menu's growing.
I know.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, you got decorated. That's so cute.
Welcome to Texas.
Look, it's the
Wow.
slippers you have with their leopard. It's so cute.
This is awesome. Thank you.
And you definitely can't help but feel the little bit of irony, I guess, of the fact that Rachel is really going above and beyond to treat Not Famous like an influencer, when the whole reason that this exploded in the first place was her explaining how when you go to Hair by Chrissy, if you're not an influencer, you get treated very different. Like the ironies, the layers, the dichotomy of it all. You can't help but notice. But as you can see, she definitely went all out for Not Famous. And I'm sure some people would see this and be like, this is so extra and unnecessary. But when you think about all the content that they're making out of it and how this is really, in a sense, like a way for Rachel to market herself and show the hospitality and the kindness and the way she does hair and getting people invested into seeing the hair transformation that she does, you can kind of see that even though, yes, Not Famous is not paying for the hair, there is still a lot of motivators, and there is still obviously a lot of ways that Rachel will get that back through TikTok views, through people wanting to book with her, through exposure, through growth, through the FYP. Like, there is many a layer to why she would do this and why she would treat Not Famous like this. And I have also seen a few comments being like, why is everyone calling her Not Famous? Like, that is just her handle, and that's kind of the handle that she wants to go by. So obviously Not Famous is not her real name. That is how she wants to be referred to by publicly. So that is just that little quick explanacionio. But that was kind of the build up, getting everybody excited and in anticipation to see when they would post the hair transformation, to see when they would show the truth behind the work that Hair by Chrissy's team did, because let's be honest, Hair by Chrissy did not do the hair, but let's see the work that Chrissy touts as this expensive work and see the transformation. So let's simply get into that now. Let's get into the meat and potatoes, which is the hair transformation itself and the reveal of the actual work that Hair by Chrissy did, or Hair by Chrissy's team did, and if it is at all justifiable, maybe not to the 4K hair pricing, but to say that it's a high-end luxury hair service and quality. So let's start watching. And just to give you guys a little bit of a kind of reference point, all of these hair transformation videos that Rachel has done on Not Famous have over 1 million views. So it's definitely doing the numbers. You're talking about the numbers.
All right, y'all, let's start the 3-part series on starting the appointment to finishing it. So the first thing I noticed with the install was the top row was completely installed differently than the bottom row. The top had a open bead method, the bottom was a hidden bead method, and I think this stemmed from multiple people working on her hair. So 2 different people installed the top row and bottom row, which is fine if people are going to help, but there's got to be a plan, and y'all have got to execute it in the same manner with the same goal in mind. So I don't think if someone's paying a lot of money for their hair, they should have 2 different methods, bottom and top. Another thing I noticed was the corners were not stitched down correctly. There was a big gap from the last stitch before the final stitch on the corner, and it left a big old gap.
Immediately off the bat, we can see that there is a lot of evidence, even to the untrained eye, that this is probably not the work of a high-end, well-oiled machine where you can justify 10 million billion people working on your hair because they all work together in unison. All of them have become one, and it's, you know, this dancing magical system where all of these hairstylists are working together to give you a really high-end class result. The reality is, like everything else we talked about in part 1 and kind of speculated about, the fact that all of those people working on her hair were not working together, and there was many signs of that, as we talked about. None of them remembered her name, none of them remembered what they were doing, everyone was doing different things, and the evidence shows that again with the install of the hair extensions, which I feel like you would argue is the most expensive part of this whole hair glow up, hair transformation and styling. Well, I guess actually, to be fair, the most expensive part of her service was the Chrissy service that she didn't even receive. Where's the Chrissy service? It was the kind of touched, the essence of Chrissy, the thought of Chrissy was the service that she paid for. In reality, from what I understand, as someone who clearly doesn't have hair extensions and clearly doesn't spend $4,000 on my hair, from what I understand, hair extensions are the most expensive part of most services. So the fact that that wasn't treated with this kind of high-end, high-quality expectation and service and level that you would expect from these hairstylists, that is touted by Chrissy as being the special technique and the training that she does and the service that you're getting is the people that she trains. Where is it? I don't know. But anyway, let's continue.
She had 160 grams of hair in her head divided into 2 rows. A lot of people on the internet say that that's what people should be wearing on average, but that's not true. Every head is different, and 160 grams, when it's evenly distributed correctly, not just put from ear to ear in the back of the head, it feels different and it feels better. Also, her color, guys, she had a ton of dimension through her natural and no dimension through the extensions, and these are 5-week-old extensions, so for them to be this color already is kind of crazy, because normally you're going to get a lot longer wear. The other thing that Not Famous was really wanting to fix was the disconnect from the front to the back of the extensions, where you could see like a harsh cutoff, and that comes with placement. The next thing I did see was there was a lot of over direction in the first bead that was pulling back and causing a sore. And also, she unfortunately did have a little bit of hair loss, and I'm hoping it comes back since it was pretty fresh. But you can see right there where the over direction was pulling back and during her shedding, she had a lot of shedding as well.
It's really helpful that Rachel said how old the extensions were. So 5 weeks, and she's already got a lot of shedding and hair loss, and it is pretty clearly directly to do with the hair extensions. Like, you can see the little patch right at the end there. Like, I'm sorry, just pick my jaw up off the floor really quick. I could not believe it. I could not believe it was really that bad. Like, it wasn't just, oh, Chrissy didn't touch my hair. Like, it really is so beyond the fact of like, oh, you got charged for Chrissy's service when Chrissy didn't touch your hair. It's like, no, if Chrissy was overseeing your hair, that is inferring that she's approved this quality of service. And in reality, these extensions has led to shedding, hair loss, and now literally like a little patch where her hair is missing. I'm sorry, I didn't realize losing my hair was part of that $4,000 service.
Her hair looked beautiful. The end result, people were like, man, her hair looked so good. It was pretty. She was being dramatic. Like, you can't say that to a client who's actually wearing them, because what the hair looks like on the outside doesn't always, match the inside. And so that's like saying, looking at someone's house from the outside and be like, wow, that's a beautiful house, and expecting to walk into something pretty and it's a hoarder or something like not, what you expected. It's the same thing, guys. Our work on the outside needs to reflect the inside of the install. And that's why I preach that my pricing is not just because it looks pretty on the outside. It also looks pretty on the inside, and it maintains the integrity of my client's scalp. That's how they're able to wear more grams and look and be healthier. And so that's one thing that I really want to take and teach, is without being ugly and mean. I'm not trying to like sit here and start drama, but I am going to use this as a teaching moment, explaining why I do things the way that I do. And that's okay if you want to do things the way that you do.
That video really did break down all of the issues with the hair, with the install, with the many more reasons why this service was not worth $4,000. And the comments really do reflect that. Like this one that says, so it was even worse than we thought. I would be livid if I paid $4K for that. She paid $4K for this. Like, I feel like we're all just remembering, oh my God, she paid $4K for this. $4,000. Like, I know we talked about it in my last video, how objectively, subjectively, every blah, 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 that is a crazy amount of money to be like, yeah, pay that much for your hair. I really hope that honestly this video is very validating for Not Famous, because like Rachel said, a lot of people were trying to reduce how she felt about the situation down to being like, oh, you just were upset that you paid that much. You were just upset that you didn't have Chrissy do the hair and it was her stylist, or, you should have expected that it was going to be assistants. But to have this video to really show and have a professional explain why this is not up to a standard, the reality is that if she had kept getting her hair done like this, not only would she be out an absurd amount of nickels, but she would lose an absurd amount of hair and would become another victim to the Hair by Crispy lineup, become another person that gets to a point where you can't even wear hair extensions because you only got like 12 hairs on your head left. And I really do like this comment that says, mistakes happen in every job, but the fact that there was no accountability on their end for this is absolutely insane, considering the reputability. But now obviously I wanted to show you guys the before and after transformation of the hair, so you can see Rachel's work and see the hair that Not Famous ended up getting from her.
Oh my gosh! She's bald! She's bald and she's torturing people who have hair!
And I feel like this top comment really summarizes the whole situation, where it says, I didn't think I'd be able to tell a difference, but I can. This is way better. And the shed is crazy after just a couple of weeks. I didn't realize how bad the first one was until I saw you as well. And like the comment said, I don't think people thought they'd be able to literally tell how much better the hair ended up looking. But as does often happen in videos on this channel, the plot doth thickened. And so now I wanted to show you guys a video that Rachel posted saying how much this hair would have cost if Not Famous had paid for it. And this is an interesting and intentional segue, I promise, but let's watch the video first.
All right, we're at part 2 with pricing, breakdowns, and all the things. So if she would have paid me, it would have been $27.50. That is for 100 grams more hair than what she had in her head. So 260 grams total, and the price breakdown in the beginning of that clip. So we did a K18 treatment on her. Shout out to K18. It worked wonders on her hair. I did 2 full rows and a mini density row. Then we started to tackle the color. And guys, I'm not a fan of weaving. I'm not saying that you can't weave and do beautiful work. You can. I personally do not weave because it's hard to replicate and do the same thing again next time. And then you cause a lot of damage, and no one's going to sit there. Usually no one sits there and weaves out every single piece they did last time. Then we used Redken shades. I'm going to put the toner in the screen here so that you can see it. I called my sister in because she is like a master mixologist. And then D Wigs did her makeup, and then we took Not Famous to do a photo shoot to help her build a branding portfolio at my studio with my media team. This is at my new salon. Here's her end result, guys.
So even though this is not touching the 4K price tag, we have to ignore Jessie J's advice on this one because this would have cost $2,750, and the hair cost itself would have been $1,625, install for $750, and color for $375. So this is where I really need any of my hair extension besties to please let us know down below. How does this pricing compare? How does this hair extension pricing feel for you guys? Does it feel like a lot? Like, I think I'm obviously not the best person to judge this because I've never had hair extensions. It's hard for me to understand and wrap my silly little head around if these prices are fair, because I do see a really mixed reaction in the comments of some people being like, yes, this is kind of what to expect. This is what you should expect if you get hair extensions. And then, you know, the top comment of this video is hair prices in the US are a joke. And the second comment is pricing is high, but it had a good outcome. Money doesn't matter if you get your money's worth. And then TBH, this is genius marketing. I have a feeling that this one free service will be a solid investment. So this is the next same price. 2K is actually a great price. This is what it costs in general at almost any place. This is why I really want your guys' thoughts and opinions down below, because it really does feel like a mixed bag of like, this is a great price, this is a reasonable price, this is comparable to other places, this is ridiculous, you know? And so I would love to know what you guys think. If you have an experience with hair extensions, like, what is the reality of the situation? I do feel like her hair looks much nicer in this video. Her outcome is a lot better. Her hair looks a lot more like the inspo pic, and I definitely agree with the comment saying that this free service is well worth Rachel's investment, because you can definitely see that with the views, but also the fact that she now has over 500,000 followers on TikTok. So it has definitely helped grow in her platform. It has definitely given her a lot of reach. Like I said, a lot of these videos have over 1 million views, and it definitely has worked as really good marketing to really show her hair compared to another luxury hairstylist. And even though, yes, it's still expensive, it is less expensive than the Hair by Chrissy. So I think in a lot of ways it was, you know, unagi salmon skin rolls. But the thing that I couldn't help but shake, and definitely in that last video, I was like, oh, I just feel like I've seen Rachel before. I just feel like, where have I seen you before? Like, where did you come from? My place. No, but then I remembered that Rachel has actually herself been involved in a Hairtok drama before. Rachel, in fact, to add irony and to add the to nickelification of every video, has had a 4K hair drama before, and I just had to add this aspect into the video because I just think it obviously is all connected, it's all combined, but it does also lead us into like the bigger gaps at the end of this video. But so I wanted to show you guys this video that went absolutely viral that Rachel posted earlier this year that has nearly 19 million views.
$3,135, and then my after hours fee is going to be $800. So perfect. Okay, so I just had a client reach out to me. She's one of my regulars, so this is nothing like out of the ordinary, but she asked if I could do an after hours appointment because she wants a new install before this weekend. And I have no openings, and so she knows I offer after hours appointments on Saturdays and Sundays, but it does come with a hefty cost. So I pretty much am on call to my clients, but let's get ready. We're going to go do this appointment. I'm not going to get dressed and all crazy like I usually do for work. I'm literally meeting her up there in an hour, so let's go do this appointment. Okay, so Mariah is doing an after hours appointment, which is pretty much like My normal regular clients know that if they call me, I have a day or a fee if you want to come in on Sunday or days that I don't work because I'm so busy. And they're willing to pay it. So Mariah said, I'll pay your after hours fee. Can I bring my kid? You can bring your baby and we gonna watch them for you and do your hair. This is mama's day out.
Babysitter service.
Exactly. Babysitter service. Okay. So Mariah has had extensions with me for years. I've done her hair 15 years now. Okay. So normally we do 14 wefts for 24 inch is 140 per weft. So the hair is going to be 1,960. And then we're doing 3 rows. It's going to be 300 per row. So it's going to be 900 for your install, and then your color is going to be 275, which is 3,135, and then my after hours fee is going to be $800. So perfect. Okay, so your total should be about $39.35.
Again, if I had 2 nickels for high-end hairstylists going viral and having a drama because they charge $4,000 for a hair service, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. And I do acknowledge that this is obviously kind of a different reason that this had a drama and went viral, and a lot of people just being gooped and gagged, clutching their pills at the thought of having a $800 after hours charge on top of a very high-end priced appointment. And the top comments kind of say, after hours $800 for a client who has been with you for years is not okay. I'm huge on it's not personal, it's business, but an $800 after hour fee for a 15-year client is absurd. Who the hell would pay that? Girl, get a flight to the UK, $800, stay a week, $1,000, get your hair done, $1,000, and use the other $1,100 to enjoy your holiday. And you can definitely see all the reasons why that this went viral. And I definitely think, again, like, yes, the pricing is shocking, right? The pricing is crazy and hard to wrap our silly little heads around. But I think there's also layers to this. Ogres have layers, haircuts have layers, and hair dramas have layers. And for this, I think people were so shocked that this is clearly a very loyal customer or client that has been going to her for, like they said, 15 years and spending a lot of money every time, having hair extensions for a long time. So it just was quite surprising and hard to wrap your mind around the fact that this is the kind of pricing that they would add on. But I do think it is a complicated conversation, and like part of the reason why this whole situation went so viral earlier in the year is because, yes, of course you should value your time, but I think it is hard to really crunch these numbers and understand how that equals this. But I do just think it is very interesting that Rachel herself has been a hairstylist and Hairtok creator that went viral for not the same situation, obviously, but pricing definitely playing a huge part of it and being a huge part as to why probably the situation goes viral in the first place. And I just thought it was so interesting how it's like a full circle situation that she is now helping and redid Not Famous's hair, but also kind of showing that she is a less expensive alternative to Hair by Chrissy, when earlier this year she went viral for also charging $4,000 to do someone's hair. Interestingly, she also posted another video talking about another $4,000 hair service and definitely jumping on the fact and the topic that Hair by Chrissy and Not Famous started online. So let's watch that video now.
What happens when a service really does cost $4,000? Some services in my hair salon do cost $4,000, and I want to go over what that looks like in the very rare occasion that it does. As you see, my client Kelsey here had a very blunt bob. She was very dense. The hair alone for her would have cost $2,160, but this was for 375 grams of 22-inch hair in 16 Genius wefts. Her custom color would have been $650 with a K18 treatment that does include her color for her hair naturally and the color for the extensions that I'm also having to do to make sure that they match literally perfectly. So when you break down the install price of $1,200, it's $300 per row for a brand new install in my salon. The reinstall is cut in half. It is $150 per row. Her end result ended up being a 10 out of 10. And if you have any questions, please let me know. I didn't charge Kelsey. She's a single mom. I flew her out here before I even went viral for inviting Not Famous. I was already doing these things.
And I can't help but feel like when I watch this video, again, it feels similar to the Hair by Chrissy situations where because influencers are getting flown out for free, because Rachel flies these people out for free, and this person, or not famous specifically, are not getting charged that much, that pricing does get absorbed other places. That pricing still occurs for some people. There will still be people that go to these stylists and spend thousands, $4,000 on a hair service. And to me, I really just can't even argue over if it's worth it, or what one looks better, or whose hair looks good, or if it's like literally or technically worth that much money. I can't help but feel like that much money being spent on a single hair appointment feels really out of touch for a lot of people and a lot of people's reality, and for just like most people's reality, but also just like wanting to be able to spend that much money, or like insinuating that if you have that much money you should spend that much money. I definitely don't want it to seem like I'm tearing people down for spending that much money. It just definitely does not feel like in touch with reality for most people to even suggest spending that much money, I guess is where I was going with that train of thought. So the final video of Rachel's I wanted to show you guys was her comparing her pricing to Hair by Chrissy's, and I just found this video very interesting, so I did want to show it to you guys. It definitely does feel like Rachel is definitely using the whole Chrissy situation and using the not famous situation. So let's watch the video of her comparing the pricing.
A lot of comments are saying you charge just as much. What the heck? No, I do not actually. So I'm going to put one of the receipts from two of the girls who came out. I'm going to break down her receipt in comparison to if she were paying me what I would have charged. Disclaimer, I'm not charging her. I have invited her to Texas. Why would I charge her? All right, so let's start with the wefts. She got a total of 9 wefts. If she has a hand tied or a genius weft, that's probably about 180 grams of hair on average. And then she went in and cut it. So I'm assuming that after cutting and everything that you need to do to blend, she's probably left with anywhere from 150 to 165 grams of hair, and that, in my opinion, is not enough hair. Most of my clients who get that service leave with about 250 to 300 grams of hair in their head to ensure that it blends when it's straight and there's no disconnect from their natural to the extensions. As you can see in Not Famous, her hair does disconnect a little bit, which I'm gonna fix. All right, let's move on to the Chrissy service. I'm assuming Chrissy service is the install and the color. When you divide that into 3 things, which is row 1, row 2, and a highlight, that averaged out to $966 per thing she did, okay? So new installs for me is $300 per row, a quarter of that price, and I'm getting told that I charge the same price. The reason my pricing looks similar to Chrissy's, even though it's not, is because I'm adding double the hair. If I did the amount of hair that Chrissy did, my pricing would be half of Chrissy's price. Okay, so if Not So Famous had come to me for a brand new install with 9 wefts, which is not enough hair, 2 rows, and a highlight, it would have been $1,980 in my salon. So for everyone to come on the app and on my page and say that I charge just as much as Chrissy, I actually don't, guys. I'm adding twice as much hair as the average stylist.
To provide some context as to where this pricing comes from and the kind of, I guess, logic behind this type of pricing, do we get it? I can't say I do get it, but at least it does kind of make sense to hear the pricing and the reasoning behind the pricing.
Hey guys, it's me, Editing Briar. Shocking to no one, I know, but I wanted to come in here quickly because since filming this video, Rachel's previous assistant has been kind of shady, reposting things about Rachel, and it kind of just seems like a domino effect almost at this point, where obviously Rachel is using the whole situation with Hair by Chrissy to redo Not Famous's hair and kind of use that to get kind of engagement and likes, and now it seems like her ex-assistant is kind of also doing the same to her, right? It just feels like it's getting a little bit messy at this point. I'm sure I'm putting some of the videos on the screen. People kind of trying to jump on the bandwagon, people trying to jump on the hype and the virality of the situation. Like I said in the beginning of the video, Rachel redoing Not Famous's hair is not that crazy or not that new or not not like something we haven't seen before. So it's not really something that I would particularly hold against her or say like that's a bad thing of her to do. But it does unfortunately seem to incite this kind of domino effect where you've jumped on a viral topic in conversation and now people are going to do the same to you. So I did just kind of want to add that in as well, because I feel like it does kind of show just like a general messiness that does seem a bit inherent to these situations, and it does seem like it's kind of hard to avoid this type of messiness when you choose to do these types of things and this type of content, even though it's nice to redo people's hair and nice to do people's hair for free. When it's off the back of a drama, it just does inherently attract this kind of messiness and the people out of the woodworksness of it all. So I did just want to add that in. Editing me had to have her say, had to come in here and say blah blah blah. Back to previous Briar.
But I did just want to end our yaps with a lot of videos of people talking about the whole situation, because I did think that they raised some interesting points. So here is a video from another stylist talking about the situation.
If you're new here, my name is Alyssa. I own a salon and a hair extension brand called Beige and Bloom. Unless your hair is extremely thick naturally, 300 grams, even 250 grams is so much hair. That's way too much hair. It's adding way too much tension to your hair, and it's going to cause damage over time. There's no question about it. This Rachel girl says that she does the max amount of hair than the average stylist because she's accounting for shedding, which is true. You do shed. Your extensions are going to shed. But instead of charging that one time, why don't you break it up so they have 150 to 180 grams. Most of my I would say 95% of my clients have 180 grams in their hair, which is 3 packs of hair. They're buying it once, 180 grams, which ends up being like $930 with tax or something like that. And then they're wearing it for say 10 months, depends on how well you're taking care of your hair. I always say it lasts up to a year. And then they're buying it again 10 months to a year later for another $930. So you're putting that all into one because you want to avoid shedding, but you're actually destroying your hair in the process. It's not going to blend any better than how I blend it, unless your stylist doesn't know how to blend correctly after putting extensions in.
And I found this video really interesting because the reality is that Rachel's pricing and Hair by Chrissy's pricing do end up being somewhat similar, but as Rachel was saying, it's because she puts in way more hair, but the result does end up being kind of similar of these very high-end price points. And not to mention that both Rachel and Hair by Chrissy and the stylist too, like they all own their own extension brand. So you have to imagine that would also be of benefit to them. And it's just like for Rachel, her thing and her point of difference is using a lot of hair, whereas Chrissy, she's using a lot of assistance. She's using a lot of manpower to get the hair in. And so it sounds like Hair by Chrissy puts in a similar amount to this stylist, whereas Rachel puts in a lot more hair. That's why she says that her pricing is the same. And very interestingly, Rachel replies to this video and says, "Hey, the queen has arrived. Let's go live and debate this topic." Rachel definitely seems very eager and keen to talk about these things and to really like snowball off of the attention and the engagement that this whole topic has gotten, whether or not it is favorable. And I do think the transformation that Rachel did was favorable to her. But then when she goes and talks about why other services that she would do would cost $4,000, or trying to say the reason that her pricing looks similar is because she uses more hair, that's kind of when it feels like she loses people. And I definitely feel like this comment nails the situation on the head, where it says the way both of these stylists are just arguing off who people can rip people off the most. It does just kind of seem like either way, the end result is still the same of trying to normalize these price points to people wanting to get their hair done, to young people like Not Famous, who I believe is like 19 years old, and trying to normalize that as the price point to get the hair that you want and to get your hair done by, you know, a TikTok famous hairstylist is just normalizing this price point, and is just telling younger people and younger audiences that this is just kind of what you should expect. This is why it costs this much, whether or not that feels reasonable or whether or not that is something we want to normalize. And I feel like that is the point that we ended on in my first video, and I kind of wanted to end on again here. It's just like, do we really want to be normalizing this pricing? Do we really want influencers to be going to these places and be telling their audience that this is kind of an amount of money to expect to spend on here? Like $4,000 is so much out of people's money. $4,000 is so much if you compare it to rent, if you compare it to someone's monthly salary. Like that is so much money to try and normalize to people as like a service that you have to repeat. This is not an amount of money that most people would feel normal or justifiable or reasonable. And I do obviously acknowledge that the hair cost is always going to be the highest cost and is always going to be a high cost if you want to have hair extensions. And for a lot of people, it really helps with their self-confidence and makes them feel good. And so I don't want to minimize that. Yes, you should invest in yourself and feel good about yourself and do things that help you feel good about yourself. But for these high-end prices, you would want to be getting kind of like the best of the best experience. You would want to be getting an amount of hair that is right for you, that you can have long term. And obviously I don't know who's ultimately right in that respect, whether it's Rachel or that other stylist, but it does just kind of bring into question like, who can you trust? Because all of these people come online, have these platforms and show themselves as professionals and people that you should trust and someone that people aspire to going to their hair salon. But there's so much conflicting information. There's so many conflicting statements. There's so much conflicting about who is looking after whose hair, who's actually giving a good service. You just kind of feel like, I don't know who is right in these situations. And I feel like especially seeing the state that Not Famous's hair was after seeing Hair by Chrissy, it just really brings into question not just the pricing, but also these stylists that have gotten these huge platforms on social media and really kind of just showing that just because you have a lot of followers and because you do a lot of influencers hair for free doesn't mean you're actually doing a good job. Doesn't mean the 10 assistants that you're training are actually doing the special, never seen before custom job that actually looks after your hair, because the reality of it was it didn't. It damaged Not Famous's hair. And so I guess if anything, it just really shows that just because someone has a lot of followers, maybe in videos and photos, and the hair looks nice, it doesn't actually mean much, if anything. And I guess to me, it just makes me really sad and worried for, you know, all of these girls that follow these influencers that go to Hair by Chrissy and these high-end hairstylists. And it just feels like they're kind of getting duped into it. And in Not Famous's case, we're in risk of having their hair ruined and their hair damaged and had hair loss and, you know, bits of their hair missing. I don't know, so many updates, so many things to yap about, so many things I want to know about in the comments below. So please let me know. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. And I have to say, thank you guys so much for 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. I literally cannot believe it. Like truly at the beginning of the year, that was like my wildest dreams wildest dreams goal. But it was kind of like psh, as if little old me would be able to reach that. So I'm truly just in shock and so grateful and so thankful for everyone that is liking and subscribing and enjoying my content. Like truly, it means so much to me, and I just truly cannot believe it at all that I've hit 10,000 subscribers. Like, what is life? Thank you guys so much for watching. If you stay till the end, you are a real one. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I'll link my vlog channel down below. I am currently doing a Vlogmas where I post 12 vlogs in the month of December, and I'm doing Chatmas here too, where I post 12 main channel videos in the month of December. Videos out the wazoo. And YouTube should be recommending another one of my videos on the screen right now. But don't you worry, guys, because I'm not funny there either. Bye!